The story begins with a man named Hutch. He's sitting in front of the FBI, under interrogation. They ask him, "Who are you really?" And with that, the story rewinds a little. Hutch is an assassin. He spends all his time completing missions, killing targets, and living in bloodshed. But because of this life, he's growing more and more distant from his family. His wife Becca waits for him every evening at dinner, but Hutch almost never makes it home on time. One evening, Becca is about to text him saying, "We need to talk," but she stops herself. When Hutch finally spends a day at home, he feels how far he's drifted from his family. His kids head off to school, and his wife leaves for the office. Becca reminds him that summer break is just around the corner. Hutch agrees and says, "We should do something. As a family, let's go somewhere. I'll make the plan. But first, I have an assignment today." Becca wants to say something more, but once again she holds back. Hutch leaves for his assignment. His mission is to steal something, but it takes far longer than expected. His handler, Barber, questions him, "Why did it take you so long? It was supposed to be a simple snatch and grab." Hutch explains, "First I had to take out everyone in the elevator. Then, after I got their keycard, another gang with guns was waiting outside." Barber says, "I figured there'd be one or two other parties interested in this." Hutch replies, "Not just one or two. There were three." After wiping out the gunmen, Hutch also had to face a Brazilian gang wielding machetes. But Hutch, single-handed, took them all down. Barber shrugs it off. "Well, doesn't matter. The job got done. Your $30 million debt just went down by 800 grand. You see, some time ago Hutch burned the money of a Russian gangster, and ever since, he's been repaying that debt. But Hutch says he needs a break. Barber wishes him luck, but adds, "This job is in your nature. And nature always wins." We then see Hutch remembering an ad he spotted while fighting those thugs. It was for a place called Plummerville. He shows his family an introduction video of this amusement park filled with rides and water slides. Hutch says this place has everything. Even Grandpa will love it. But when the kids hear that Grandpa's coming too, they start losing interest. Hutch explains, "This is the only place I visited as a kid. My father brought me here. I want all of us to go together, just once." Hearing this, his whole family agrees. They pick up Hutch's father, David. He has to put out his cigar before getting into the car. Together, singing along the way, the family arrives at Plummerville. But as they head toward the water park, they learn it's closed for the day. Instead, they're given coupons for hot dogs. At the hot dog stand, Hutch remembers how he and his brother Harry used to eat here when they were kids. But now, sitting in the same spot is the local sheriff. He asks Hutch, "What are you looking at?" The tension between them begins to rise. Hutch takes his hot dogs and sits with his family. After eating, they head to the arcade to play some games. Brady wins a stack of tickets and kindly gives them to a group of nearby girls. But one of the girls' boyfriends doesn't like it. He demands Brady apologize for something he didn't even do. To make things worse, the boy rips apart Sammy's toy, Hutch's daughter's prize. Brady stands up to him, and a fight breaks out. The arcade manager steps in. Hutch tries to calm everything down. Becca insists they should just leave. But as they're walking out, the manager slaps little Sammy on the head. That crosses the line for Hutch. He turns back inside. And there, he reveals his true self, showing everyone what he's really capable of. One by one, Hutch takes them down. And finally, he delivers a slap to the arcade manager's head. But because of what Hutch did, the police took his whole family in for questioning. While they sat to the side, Brady looked at his dad and said, "What you did back there was awesome." But Hutch didn't see it that way. Soon after, the sheriff brought Hutch into his office. There, sitting in the sheriff's chair, was a man named Wyatt. Wyatt controlled the entire town. And the boy from the arcade? He was Wyatt's son. Brady had injured that boy's pitching arm during the fight. Hutch calmly replied, "One of those men smacked my daughter. If you were in my place, what would you have done?" Hearing this, Wyatt let Hutch go. But the sheriff quietly gave his officers some different orders. Back at the hotel, Becca lashed out at Hutch. "Why did you let your other side show?" She said, "Your son is already becoming too aggressive." She asked what was in his work bag, suspecting Hutch had brought something dangerous with him. But inside was only a bottle of wine. This was the same wine from the place where Hutch and Becca had first met. Becca softened, hugged him, and they began talking. She told him, "From the moment I first met you, I knew who you really were. You were covered in blood." The next day, the family spent time playing more games. Meanwhile, David stayed back at his old lodge. That's when Hutch noticed a police officer secretly taking pictures of them. Later, when they went on a duck boat ride, the same officer showed up again, this time with a group of thugs. Hutch quickly ushered his family onto one boat, but didn't join them. He said his stomach was upset. Instead, he boarded a different boat. The officer followed Hutch onto the boat. But when more tourists started boarding, the officer and his men were forced to keep up their act. Once the boat set off, the officer leaned in and said, "We told you to leave." Then the thugs attacked Hutch. The fight broke out in the middle of the moving boat, but none of the tourists noticed. They were too busy wearing headphones and enjoying the ride. During the brawl, the officer slashed Hutch's finger with a knife, cutting it clean off. A fish swallowed the severed finger as it fell into the water. Then, the thugs threw Hutch overboard, realizing he was no ordinary tourist. But Hutch wasn't finished. He climbed back onto the boat, furious, and unleashed his full power. He dismantled every thug one after another and shattered the officer's face. After escaping, Hutch called his brother Harry. He told him about Plummerville, about how he had come back here, but the place wasn't as friendly as he remembered. Harry explained, "That's because it's an old trade route. Dad didn't take us there for a vacation. He took us there to complete a mission." He added that the local police were working with the syndicate. Meanwhile, Wyatt and the sheriff were preparing to ship out some cargo. Wyatt warned him clearly, "Don't cause any trouble." But right then, the sheriff received a call from one of his officers. "That man," he said, "isn't just a tourist." Hutch immediately calls his handler, Barber, and asks about Plummerville. Barber tells him the truth. That place is controlled by a woman named Lendina. Lendina was a ruthless woman who could never tolerate a loss. Anyone who cost her money didn't live long. For her, Plummerville was crucial to her business. Barber advises Hutch to de-escalate the situation before things spiral out of control. Meanwhile, Wyatt gets a call from Lendina. Wyatt's plan was to finish the shipment and then cut ties with her, because once it was delivered, his father's entire debt would be paid off. But Lendina didn't see it that way. According to her, this debt was never-ending. She called the sheriff and ordered him to remind Wyatt who the real boss was. "Bring me something he loves most," she said. The sheriff responds by kidnapping Wyatt's son, Max. He plans to hand the boy over to Lendina. But before that can happen, Hutch shows up. Hutch lights a flame and threatens the sheriff, saying, "I'll burn everything down right here. And if anything happens to the shipment, Lendina herself will destroy you." He adds, "Leave my family alone, and I won't do anything." At first, the sheriff refuses. But realizing the risk, he reluctantly agrees. As Hutch turns to leave, his eyes fall on Max, who silently pleads for help. Hutch forces himself to walk away, gets into his car, and drives off. But he can't bring himself to abandon the boy. He turns back. Hutch charges in, fighting everyone. During the firefight, a few stray bullets hit a lamp. The sparks drop into the gasoline Hutch had spilled earlier. The flames spread quickly, igniting the explosives stored nearby. A massive blast tears through the place, destroying everything. When Lendina hears that her entire shipment has been wiped out, she's furious. She also learns the man responsible is staying here with his family. The sheriff calls her too, warning, "Bring every soldier you can." Meanwhile, Hutch and his family regroup at David's old lodge. Even Brady and Max finally face each other and end their tension with a handshake. But Becca isn't happy. She tells Hutch, "You promised me." Hutch, filled with regret, says, "None of this is under my control. You should take the kids and leave me." But Becca shakes her head. "You're my husband, the father of my children. Whatever happens, fix this." Hearing that, Hutch goes straight to Wyatt. Wyatt, the moment he sees Hutch, attacks him without listening. He's convinced Hutch burned the entire shipment. But Hutch fights him off and explains the truth. Wyatt learns that Hutch actually saved his son. Then Wyatt reveals just how dangerous Lendina really is. She was the one who murdered his father. Wyatt warns Hutch that Lendina is vicious and without mercy. And there is no doubt she is coming. Lendina was on her way with an entire army, determined to kill Hutch. Wyatt shows Hutch his stash of weapons, and together they clear out the entire water park. This would be the battleground where they face Lendina. Just then, Harry makes his entrance, arriving to help his brother. Hutch also frees a wolf dog from its cage, unleashing another weapon of chaos. They begin setting traps all around the amusement park, bombs, weapons, and deadly surprises hidden in every corner. Meanwhile, Lendina's soldiers arrive in town. On their way, they spot Hutch's father's old lodge. Lendina orders one of her men, make sure no one inside survives. Inside that lodge, Hutch's entire family is gathered. Becca spots a dart gun. She hands it to her son, telling him to stay strong, then slips away to join the fight. The first to confront Hutch is the sheriff. He declares, from now on, I'll be running this town, not Wyatt. He demands that Hutch and Wyatt hand over their guns and come with him, but both refuse. As the sheriff turns to walk away, Lendina orders her men to gun him down. With that, Wyatt activates the traps he had set. Hutch uses the rides, the attractions, and every piece of the amusement park itself as weapons. Explosions rip through the grounds, gunfire echoes, and chaos erupts. Hutch storms into the mirror room, where soldiers cannot tell what is real and what is reflection. He plants bombs there, striking when they least expect it. Wyatt lures more soldiers into a ball pit, where hidden landmines wait. But then Wyatt takes a bullet to the leg. The soldiers close in to finish him, only to trigger yet another deadly trap. Hutch sends one soldier flying down a water slide to his death. Others are cut down by his father David, wielding a machine gun with brutal precision. But near the lodge, a second wave of Lendina's soldiers arrives. Harry takes them head-on. Soon, only Lendina's top fighter remains. He and Harry clash in a one-on-one sword fight. Harry slices through both his sword and his gun before finishing him off. Back at the lodge, one soldier makes it inside. But Brady, Hutch's son, takes him down. Harry smiles at the boy. Your dad would be proud of you, Brady. Then finally, Hutch comes face to face with Lendina herself. She sends two fighters against him, and they overwhelm him. Lendina sneers, now you will lose everything. She orders her fighters to finish Hutch. But suddenly, shots ring out. Wyatt fires from behind, killing both fighters. Enraged, Lendina hurls a knife straight into Wyatt, cutting him down. She moves in to kill Hutch next, but Becca arrives just in time. She fires the dart gun straight into Lendina's eye, ending her once and for all. More of Lendina's soldiers swarm in, but David detonates all the bombs they planted earlier. The entire park erupts in flames. Hutch and Becca leap into the pool, saving themselves from the blasts. Under the water, Becca pulls him close and kisses him. And now, we return to where it began. Hutch and Becca, sitting in an interrogation room. But before the FBI can push further, a phone call comes in. After hearing the instructions, the agents have no choice but to release them both immediately. And with that, friends, our story comes to an end. Tell us in the comments how you liked this explanation. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel Recap Central HQ, and click the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Thank you for your support and encouragement.